Donald Trump says he's safe and well after reports of gunshots described to have been fired in his vicinity. Local officials in Palm Beach in Florida say it happened in the grounds of his golf course while he was playing. An AK-47 assault rifle has apparently been recovered and a man is in custody while Tom Bateman is live in Washington with the very latest for us now. Tom, what more have you got?
We want to turn now to the war in Ukraine and fears of a wider conflict. President Biden and UK's Prime Minister met on Friday to discuss allowing the Ukrainian military to use long-range missiles to strike deep inside Russia. But Russian President Vladimir Putin is now warning of severe consequences if that happens. NBC's Danielle Hamamdjian is here with the very latest. Danielle, good morning.
Good morning, Peter. That's right. The war in Ukraine was high on the agenda during this meeting between both leaders, but still no decision has been made public. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been pleading with allies for months to let his country fire long-range Western-made missiles deep into Russian territory. We're talking specifically here about the U.S. ATACMS and the British Storm Shadows. Ukraine says these long-range weapons will allow its forces to destroy air bases and other military targets from which every single day Russia is launching attacks that are killing Ukrainian civilians. Until it's given the green light by Western countries, the Ukrainian military cannot hit those Russian targets. But the U.S. and the U.K. appear increasingly open to lifting the restrictions, which prompted a warning from Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, saying that if Ukraine fired those weapons into Russian territory, he would consider the U.S. and other NATO countries directly involved and therefore at war with Russia. His remarks signal he may be willing to escalate against the West in response, and some Western officials are concerned this could mean acts of sabotage against their infrastructure or possibly, Peter, NATO bases.
Danielle, of course.
Our next story is about the United States. It has placed a missile system in the Philippines as tensions with China go up. A missile system that can fire cruise missiles with range exceeding 1,600 kilometers. Missiles that can basically strike targets directly in China. Is the U.S. preparing for war with China? It does look like it. The missile system had been deployed on the northern island of Luzon, facing the South China Sea. It is close to the Taiwan Strait. An archipelago of the Philippines, which is also Taiwan's neighbor to the south, by the way, is an important part of America's strategy in the region. In the event of war, the Philippines would be an indispensable staging point for the military to aid Taiwan. Of course, China is not happy with the American move. China and Russia have condemned the first deployment of the system to the Indo-Pacific and accused Washington of fueling an arms race.
And when you look at Ukraine and you look at Russia, you look at all the things that are happening, we are potentially getting ready. I'm telling you, and I've made a lot of predictions, and this is not a prediction because it's so bad. I don't want it to be a prediction. We're heading into World War III territory.
We are in very volatile times right now. Right now, as I am covering about how to be Israel, our Father put an emphasis in my heart to speak on something I think is very important for us all to understand. Recently in this ministry, I've been speaking about the identity of Israel and waking up the dry bones. This subject is on my heart for a very serious reason that I think many people are not understanding. You see, in Christianity, the Christian church has used heaven as a product. They focused on preparing everyone for death, and this is what everyone focuses on. Now later on, as different denominations grew, there are churches that did change their tactics, and instead of focusing on death, they focused on life, but in a very false way, making it about prosperity and obtaining this world, or dealing with your haters, stuff like that. In the modern Christian church, if it's not talking about death and preparing you for heaven, it's turned into new age life coaching lessons that teach you how to obtain this world. Either way, these messages are tainted on both ends, and they have nothing to do with biblical truth. It's just religion. And because the Christian church has made the gospel surely focus on death and what happens when you die, most people can't look past it and understand that our focus is not on death but on life. Where we go when we die is not exactly clear to me. It's written in the Apocrypha, and there are different accounts like in Baruch. I don't know if that place that's described is heaven or not. But that's all about when we die. I need this to be clear that this ministry has never been solely only about preparing souls for death. but also preparing them for life. From the beginning, this ministry has been an end times ministry that has been all about preparing Israel for the Messiah. And I think that many people are missing this from their understanding. It's important that many of you recognize that right now, Yah is not preparing you for death, but for life. I truly believe that we are in the last days. I truly believe that our Father will keep his promises. And my goal has always been that myself and my family are a part of those promises, and that I also help bring as many as I can with me. I'm not preparing you for death, but for life. But I know that in preparing you for life, that if you were to die, you would still be prepared for what comes after. I hope that makes sense. Anyways, the reason for these videos has been all about waking up Israel and making sure everyone understands the promises, the biblical promises. Not that false religion stuff where people are preparing to disappear and be raptured. We should all be preparing for the biblical promises. And this is when Yahuwah gathers his children that he scattered across the four corners of the earth. This is what we know as the second Exodus. I am preparing and waiting for the second Exodus. It's literally all I could think about at this time. The way I see the world today is that it's about to head into tribulation in order that our Father starts the process of keeping his promises. I am waiting for the second Exodus. But before that happens, I do know that war must come first. So I am waiting for war. It can sound grim and morbid if it wasn't tied to expectations of pure blessings. To think that these prophecies that were given 2,500 years ago and more, and he knew it would be us that he would be doing this for, when you really think about it in fullness, is truly a blessing, and a thought I cannot get past. It makes me love him more and more when I think about it. He has us in mind when he made these promises. Us. He gave us what we needed to know in order to be ready. And the thing that bothers me is that there are churches on pretty much every corner throughout this world. Teachers and proclaimers of the scriptures that call themselves pastors and ministers of the scriptures. They claim that they're authorities. But how many of them are speaking about the gathering and these promises? I mean, I don't hear any of them speaking on this. And I don't mean all, of course, because there are ministries out there working to wake people up. The truth is that the masses are not ready for what's coming to the world. And the majority of the Christian church does not have a clue what they should be preparing for. People keep looking at all these messages as if it's only about salvation. That is not our only risk. We also are concerned about being ready for his return and being able to receive his promises. The reason for this ministry is to help prepare Israel for what's coming. And I take that very seriously. I am not just preparing you for death. I am preparing you for life. And again, if death comes your way, you still have been prepared for it and will receive life. This is literally the most blessed time to be alive because those who die in the Great Tribulation still come into the millennial kingdom. But for those that are led to this ministry, I don't believe that you're being prepared for enduring the Great Tribulation, but you're preparing to be one of those that are gathered and be a part of the promises that he has foretold of thousands of years ago. We are preparing for the second Exodus. And what is happening right now in this world tells me that we all must be ready. And this is what I want to share this week. I needed to cut into this series about being Israel in order to press upon all that will listen on how our Father is telling me to prepare. So we will discuss how to prepare for the second Exodus. Let's begin.